Since the Modi government came to power in 2014, India has fallen fast and fallen far short of its democratic ideals, says Indian-American journalist Fareed Zakaria on CNN. One of the world's most respected journalists, one of the few to whom Modi himself gave a one-on-one interview after becoming Prime Minister. But no, we don't need to believe Zakaria. Democracy watchdog Freedom House downgrades India from free country to partly free because of a sustained decline in civil liberties. India's freedom score was 77 in 2018, 75 in 2019, 71 in 2020, and it's 67 now. The report was important enough to be quoted by America's Foreign Secretary Antony Blinken the day it was released. But we don't need a democracy ka certificate from anyone. Inside British Parliament, the House of Commons, British MPs criticised India for violating the freedom of journalists to report on the farmer protests and for demonising protesting farmers, calling them terrorists, Khalsitani separatists, etc. In January, 100 British MPs asked their Prime Minister Boris Johnson to discuss the farmer protests with PM Modi. But why should we listen? Yeh India ka internal matter hai. 18-year-old climate change activist Greta Thunberg shared a pro-farmer protest toolkit which the Delhi police claimed promoted hatred and sedition. But what does this girl from Sweden know? No wonder her effigies were burnt on Delhi's streets. When pop singer Rihanna tweeted, "Why aren't we talking about the farmer protests?" Kangana Ranaut called her a fool and called the farmers terrorists. Naturally, Kangana, being Indian, knows better than Rihanna. And Meena, full name Meenakshi Harris, niece of US Vice President Kamala Harris, she tweets a lot more, supporting the farmer protests, talking about rising militant nationalism in India, pointedly calling out the detention of Dalit activist Nodeep Kaur. Has Kamala Harris told her bhatiji to stop? No. Could it mean that Kamala may agree with Meena? Possibly. Is there a message there for us? Yes. Yeh Jo India hai na, hame duniya dekh rahi hai. The world is watching. And if we ignore what's being said, pretend that none of this criticism matters, dismiss it all, what a mistake that would be. In 2015, Barack Obama, then the US President, himself praised Modi in the Time magazine, that Modi understood how India's diversity of background and faith was a strength that Modi had to protect. But in 2020, the editor of Time magazine revised its opinion and wrote, "Modi's BJP has rejected pluralism, specifically targeting India's Muslims, and that Modi's government has stifled all dissent." Can we really say to the Time magazine, "Chup karo yaar, you don't know India"? But okay, let's see what's happening in India. In June and July 2020, in the middle of a pandemic that was killing thousands daily, in the middle of economic collapse and a near war situation with China in Ladakh, a group of ministers, central senior ministers, prepared a report, a toolkit about how to control the narrative about the government in the media. It suggested the need for increased surveillance and targeting of writers and journalists who depart from the government's narrative, the need for a strategy to neutralize people who are writing against the government. Doesn't this sound like a plan, a toolkit to muzzle all criticism of the government? And it's not me asking this question. The Editors Guild of India, which includes India's most respected journalists, is asking this. Why this report at a time when various press freedom and democracy indices in India are already showing a rapid decline? The Editors Guild says the report illustrates the government's increasingly draconian attitude against any critique and inquiry by the press. And these are not outsiders. These are not foreign journalists, not MPs or pop singers from other countries, not a teenager from Sweden. And since we are on the topic of toolkits, let's recall what Justice Dharmendra Rana said while granting Disha Ravi bail in her toolkit case when he called her detention neither logical nor legal. He said, "Citizens are the conscience keepers of any democratic nation. They cannot be charged with sedition and jailed just because they disagree with state policies. Creating a WhatsApp group or editing an innocuous toolkit is not an offense. In fact, disagreement, divergence, dissent can only infuse objectivity in governance. An aware and assertive citizenry rather than an indifferent or docile citizenry is a sign of a healthy and vibrant democracy. ये जो इंडिया है ना, यहाँ पर we are nothing if we are not a free country. And by that, we all mean fully free, not partly free."